Hello and welcome to episode 172 of the Mark and Me podcast. As always, I'm your host Mark. Now joining me on today's episode is the lead singer from one of the best British bands out there right now. I'm joined by the incredible Katy Jackson from the band Tigress. We get to sit down and talk all about life on the road, how she's coped during lockdown, songwriting, and the most recent album, Pura Vida, which right now is in my contender for top 10 albums of the year. It really is that great, it's available everywhere, and you should go and check it out after today's interview. But in true typical Mark and Me fashion, I like to use the intro of all my episodes to touch base and talk about my last episode. On episode 171, I was joined by Chris Laporto, the lead singer from another amazing band, Can't Swim. Again, I'm so grateful for everyone that tuned in, listened to the interview, and have tweeted or Facebooked or Instagrammed me and let me know just how much they're loving Can't Swim, their most recent album, and everything to do with the band. So thanks for tuning in and checking that out. But as I said, today's episode focuses purely on the amazing band Tigress, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by the lead singer, Katy Jackson. So I think the best thing to do right now is to get straight to the interview. So here's me and Katy talking all things music. So Katy, thanks for joining me today on the Mark and Me podcast.
Thank you for having me.
What I like to do when I get a musician or a band member on the podcast is basically try and get an idea of what shaped their music tastes and kind of what bands they listen to today or what influenced them. So let's take it right back to the beginning. When you were growing up at that kind of early age and you're buying those first albums or, CDs, can you remember those first albums that you really fell in love with?
Yeah, very, very clearly. So one of the main albums of my childhood was Jagged Little Pill.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's still like my favorite album. It's so funny because I have hilarious memories of it being a kid, and because there's like a couple of swear words in there. I remember thinking, oh, my parents are going to be mad at me and they're going to take it away from me. So every time I knew there was a swear word coming up, I would quickly like turn down the volume and do my own like censoring on it. Yeah, because I just thought I love it so much. I don't want them to take it away from me. But yeah, I did listen to a lot of No Doubt as well, and I mean, I kind of just listened to a lot of stuff that my parents listened to, which was like loads like prog rock stuff. So my dad used to listen to like King Crimson and like Black Sabbath and like like those kind of bands that he grew up with.
Bands to get into.
Yeah. So yeah, he used to play all that kind of stuff, and he used to play drums, so he was always like trying to teach me how to like clap in time and like learn rhythm and stuff like along to these songs. So I guess like as well as the influences, like it just helps shape musicianship as well, and just learn like some fundamentals about music. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, but also there was always like Madonna on in the house, and like I don't know, just a lot of like strong like female.
Let's say there's a female, isn't there? Yeah. So stuff like No Doubt, obviously with Gwen Stefani, Alanis Morissette, really strong, powerful vocalists that are iconic.
Yeah, but I think if you listen to my vocals, like literally you can hear the Alanis influences like so obviously. And it's so funny because somebody said to me the other day, like I showed them the album before it was released, and they were like, oh, this song just reminds me of like something off of Jagged Little Pill, and I was like so happy with that comment, because it just, I don't know, it just meant that I had been shaped by something that was actually really important to me, and I didn't even notice until they said that actually. So it was really cool.
That's the ultimate compliment, isn't it? If they're comparing you to one of your favorite albums ever made.
I know, it's so cool. It's just, yeah, it was a really cool moment.
So when you're growing up and you're listening to these bands and you kind of fall in love with these female, absolute incredible, iconic singers, at what point was it you were kind of sitting there thinking it's something that you'd want to do? Because obviously we all sit there as a kid and we dream and have a guitar in the mirror and want to be Kurt Cobain or Axl
Yeah,
Rose and stuff. But
absolutely.
at what point was it that you really thought I'd actually love to have a genuine go at this?
I've always known that I wanted to do that. Like there's like hilarious photos of me like holding microphones and like so many videos of me singing. And I really remember there was like a tape of like a Madonna concert, and I used to watch it all the time, but I used to like dress up in like swimming costumes because I thought like because it was like similar to what she was kind
That's
of wearing on
amazing.
stage. And then I just like dance around and like I don't know, it was so funny. I was just mimicking like what they were doing. But yeah, I've just always known I wanted to do it. Like even at school when they do like careers days and stuff, they were like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a singer. I mean I didn't like realize any of it until like later on, you know, when I was about 18, I started like actually taking it seriously. Um but yeah, I mean, I've just always known it was what I wanted to do. But you know, being able to do it is not always easy.
Do you think it's quite tough as well when you're starting out and people, I think this, all the way through college I was in bands and a lot of my friends were in kind of like Green Day wannabe bands and all this sort of punk bands, but the female fronted bands were always, there was only just one or two, that was it. The rest of the
Yeah.
school, the battle of the bands was all male, dominated bands. But did you find it
Hmm.
quite difficult?
Well, I think that's why I waited to be, you know, like about 18, because I kind of felt like at school I didn't really know of anyone that would really want to do that kind of thing. Like you said, it just kind of felt like a boys' club. So I just was like singing in my bedroom and just not really doing anything with it. And it was only when I started to like go to like music colleges and unis and stuff, and then I met a lot more people that you know were used to that kind of thing, because you know like they love like Evanescence, or they love like Paramore, or they love No Doubt, or you know like those kind of bands. So they were like, oh yeah, this would be really cool. So you know I think that's why it took me a bit of a time, because yeah, it just felt a bit like a boys club. But yeah, and I just didn't really know what to do with
No.
it. So yeah, I just didn't. I just literally sung on my own in my bedroom.
So at what point was it that you started to get a band together? Can you remember those first times where you could maybe, did you audition or did you get musicians together or did you have a group of friends? How did it all come about?
So it's always a group of friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stuff that I did before I met the guys in the band was always just like, yeah, just like mates at like college. And then when I moved to London, that's when I met the band. So they just quickly became friends of mine because we just connected through our taste in music, because like we would like go and hang out at these like bars and stuff that play like rock music or whatever. And you know like as soon as the song comes on that you love and that they love and whatever, you're kind of like, oh yay, and then you just gravitate towards each other. So it's just that kind of thing. And then yeah, we just started like playing music together, because I mean it was important that people were good at what they did as well, because you know like you can be like best mates but you still got to be able to use your instrument, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
so that was important. But I mean the school that we went to, like I mean you were guaranteed that everybody could play, so it was really cool. And then yeah, we just gelled. And it was kind of like a lot of people at our uni were really into like funk or like jazz and stuff, and we were just like, oh nah, like it's just not our thing. Like they're great genres, they're just not our
Yeah.
genres. And yeah, so it just made it even more obvious that we should hang out together.
And with the band, obviously, it's 2015 you formed, wasn't it? So it's sort of six
Yeah.
years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Can you remember those kind of first rehearsals? Can you remember like the buzz? Was it there instantly, or was it something you had to work on, or you had to try and change some dynamics and stuff, or was it something you just knew that moment you got in a room it just was going to work?
Yeah, I mean with us, like it was always just gonna work with us because yeah, fundamentally we were mates and then we all had the same taste, so it was just so easy to just start working together. And like our writing process, like it rarely happened in a rehearsal studio. It was always um you know like I'll write a song on my own, or Sean will write a song on his own, or Tom will write a song on his own, and then we bring it to the rehearsal, and then we just play around with it and just start to get it more established and play around with structures and ideas and stuff. So it was always quite organized, so
Yeah.
it just made it really easy. And we were always like sending demos between each other, and then just filtering out the stuff that was cool and the stuff that we just thought was really generic and boring. And yeah, it just made it all really easy. And we had a really great start to Tigress, because we got in the studio with Max from You Me at Six and John Mitchell, and we were just like playing around with a bunch of ideas. We were originally going to release an album, actually, like straight off just release an album, but we couldn't really like establish a good enough sound, so we ended up ditching like half of the songs we recorded, which we've still got
Wow.
the other
Yeah.
half of the album that never got released. But yeah, but we've never used it, but we actually listened to it like a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it was hilarious. We're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe we did this. But yeah, it's a funny thing to think about now. So I mean, because we were never ready to release a debut album then, and I'm so glad we didn't. I'm so glad we
Yeah.
waited until now, because we had no idea who we were, what we wanted to sound like. We were just literally like playing around with stuff. And it took three EPs, and obviously like so many more songs than just the three EPs we
Yeah.
released, to realize what we actually wanted to sound like.
Yeah. It's all about trying to find your way, isn't it? Because with so many different minds, so many different tastes all coming together, you're going to get different influences, and everyone needs to be happy. The last thing you want is someone on this, playing guitar on stage who's kind of like, this isn't heavy enough for me, and they're just plodding
Yeah.
through. So it comes really transparent from the audience if someone's not having a good time. So the fact that you guys took the time, yeah, you tested the water with a few EPs, but then it all came together and you knew that's the sound we want to be, instead of just
Yeah,
going, here's
100%.
our album, and now we don't sound anything like that and we hate it, and now we're trying to reform ourselves as a whole new product.
Yeah, and that's such a difficult thing because people's first impressions of you are so hard to change. Like, like there'll be bands that I listened to like 10 years ago, whatever. And maybe I was like, oh yeah, it's not really my thing. And they're probably doing something like crazy different now, but I just still see them as whatever they were 10
Yeah.
years ago. So it's such a shame, but I think we really had that in our mind when we were doing this, because we just thought, it is important. Your first album really cements what you sound like, because EPs, everyone knows EPs are just you like trying to figure out what works for you, what people enjoy, but not just what people enjoy, what you enjoy, because as much as it is about what other people like, you have to be authentic. And like you said, if you're not authentic, it's so transparent, and people can literally spot it a mile off. So I think with this album, because it is completely authentic and it's like brutally honest, it's completely clear that it's every bit ourselves. And it's just, I mean, you can hear influences of, like I said, like like Alanis, or like you might hear some like No Doubty's like influences or whatever, but those are, they're products of our upbringings
Yeah.
and stuff, and you can hear who the guys are influenced by, like in their guitars, like Sean loves like Muse, so there's like, you'll hear like some like Muse-esque like influences. and like, you know, like Josh, our drummer, he loves Incubus, and so you'll kind of like just hear like a combination of everyone, but it's it's done in a way that we love, like because we all grew up around like the classic, um more like 90s, early 2000s, like grungy,
Yeah.
um like Brit poppy kind of like music, right? So, you know, there's just a lot of actual real instruments, and we try and steer clear of electronic
Of course.
sounds because we just wanted to take it back to like the whole like, you know, like feeder
Yeah,
era.
the traditional band, guitar, drums, bass, vocals. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's what just really resonates with us, because you know, we just wanted to kind of get away from electronic robotic music and just be real. We wanted to be able to sit down with an acoustic guitar, play all our songs, and everyone be like, the songs are still awesome, rather than being like, oh, well, the song is actually really, really heavily reliant on the electronic side of it. So therefore it doesn't really work that much acoustic. We didn't want any songs like that. So that, yeah, we can just, you know, go anywhere, be anywhere. Someone's like, play this song. All right, we can.
But it works the
'Cause-
other way as well. I think what's quite important, and I think a lot of bands I've been kind of disappointed when I've gone to see their live show, is that they rely too much on the production in the studio. So it's overproduced. It's got all these different synths and background effects and backing tracks and all these overdubs. And then when you go and see it live, it's really weak because they
yes.
can't obviously play it. So you go and watch them live, and you're like, oh, it doesn't, it's really feels stripped back, and it isn't. It's just because they've gone so overboard in the studio. And I love the fact that a band can be traditional. You know, I go and buy a ticket for someone like Deftones, and it's the same
Mhm.
band that I see on stage than is on the record. And I think that's so important because it's nothing worse than going to a gig and coming back kind of feeling like let down and deflated.
Yeah, 100%. And also like I always make it a rule that I never record anything vocally that I can't do a million times live, because I hate when vocalists like just bail out on stuff like,
Yeah,
you know, like as a vocalist, that is our job, right?
yeah.
We've got to be good at vocals. And I have like studied super hard, even though people like maybe don't think that's cool. I don't care. Like I love studying vocals, like it's my job. So, you know, it's really important to me, but also like I don't like my vocals to be heavily edited at all. Like
No.
I try and sing them really well, and then, you know, we'll add like some nice like effects, but nothing crazy.
No.
Because I just want to sound like me, because then otherwise I get on stage and people are like, what even is this? This doesn't sound like what I enjoyed listening to in my headphones. But there is a song on the album as well, called Starting Tomorrow, which is it's live, so we didn't touch that one at all. So it's great because it's got like little out of tune bits or bits where my voice is like breaking a bit, but
Well, I
it's
love
cool.
that
Yeah.
raw sound, and that's something really special about that. It
Oh my
captures it.
God.
I had Beartooth on the podcast recently, and their tracks literally sound like a performance. It's not, you know, they've captured that absolute energy of what a room would like, with them all there with their instruments rocking out. And, you know,
Yeah.
there's something I love about that. You can hear the
Yeah.
cymbals not quite right, you know, or there's a bit of feedback, and that's what you want. I want it to be a
Yeah.
captured performance.
Yeah, well, that is, you'll hear quite a lot of that on ours. I mean, it is there are points where like we did a song called Feel It, and in the demo, Sean was like playing this like guitar solo-y like line over this instrumental section, and he kind of like stopped because he didn't really know what he was doing, and then he just like started again, and all this kind of stuff, but we kept that. So we just put the demo like on the album because it was like, that's so cool. The fact that it's like and it's like
Awesome.
it's just really cool. And yeah, and there's quite a lot of stuff on the album which is just one take, me singing, and there's like quite a lot of stuff that's just me and Sean in a room together with a room mic, so obviously no editing can happen there because there's too much bleed from each of us, but it's just so nice because we're so used to like playing and performing together that like for example with Starting Tomorrow, we'd never done that song together. The first time we ever, like, he ever played it and the first time I ever sung it was on that one recording, and it's just one take straight on the album, first time we ever did it. And you can hear it because I am like so into it, like I literally like was so into it. It's so cool, and you can just hear it like there's like it's, you can't hide. You cannot hide. And I think it's because when you do that first time, like nothing feels like a first like run through, because you are just so excited and you just want to put everything into it. And the more you do it, for me personally, the less you kind of get out of me. Just because it's kind of like once you've made a point, you feel like you've made it, so then it's quite hard to keep making that same point. But so that's why like lots of the album is just first takes.
I love how proud and happy you are. You're beaming. You can't probably see yourself.
Oh my gosh, I literally love it.
It's incredible. And that's so good. That's what you want. You want to feel that for your own product,
Oh my gosh, I literally like, our album is my favorite album. It's like, it's up there with Jagged Little Pill, and I am like, I literally love it, and every time I listen to it I just get completely lost in it. And I think the reason why is because it's so genuine, and we all just mean every second of it. And I really hope that people just get that when they listen to it.
That's awesome. And obviously, and it's not a great subject, but with the whole journey to this album, you've sustained quite a bad injury to your wrists, haven't you?
I know.
Yeah. Worse luck, really.
Yeah, I know. It really sucks because obviously, like, we had the pandemic, and then so we weren't able to play.
Yeah.
And then I foolishly decided, I'm gonna take like a couple of days off because, like, I just worked like throughout the whole pandemic because there was nothing else to do. And then I was like, I'm gonna take a few days off, and then I did, and then I had an accident, and just, I mean, it's such bad timing because we had lots of shows planned and stuff like around the album, and we were supposed to be rehearsing loads, and I'd spent the pandemic learning to play guitar so that I could play, because there's a lot of acoustic guitar on the album, and the guys wanted to play like their parts, but there's an acoustic part, and I was like, I don't want to put it on track. I'll learn, because I could like play like a few chords or whatever, but I wanted to like properly learn. So I just played every day for 18 months, and then like achieved loads, but then had this accident and I haven't been able to play for, so I'm 7 weeks in now because I had to have surgery. So and I got a couple of weeks until I can attempt to use my wrists, but obviously I won't be able to play straight away. There's got to be like physio, and the rehab's going to be quite slow from what I gather. So it's just awful, and like I broke my nose as well, so it was really difficult because like for the first like 2 weeks, like I couldn't even smile because it hurt so much. So I wasn't able to sing because that just hurt, and even now I've only been singing like a little bit, because once you have even like 2 weeks off of singing, you have to build it up again to be back at the standard that you were, because as a singer you're like an athlete, but of just your the muscles that you train are in your throat. So I have to build that up again, but it's difficult because during my operation, obviously they put a tube down your throat, which is like a singer's worst nightmare, to be honest. So I'm having to do like some vocal rehab, as well as waiting to do my rehab on my wrist. No, it's not good, and it's awful timing because obviously the album is out, Um, and yeah, it's been very difficult because I haven't been able to do anything for myself. But the guys have been really good, and yeah, and all of like our booking agents and like PR team and record label and stuff, they've all just been like, it's cool, we'll just have to work a new schedule. Because there's nothing we could do about it. So
But how
yeah,
much are you going to think, when it comes to the cast coming off and the rehab going and everything else, that first day that you get to go back on stage, hold that microphone and see a room full of people is going to be worth everything you've got to go through?
yeah, 100%. Like it was so weird because like the first night that I was trying to sleep after that accident was obviously really hard because of it was a lot of pain when you have multiple fractures and all the other injuries and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, like just all I could think about was like I can't play guitar. Like we had a music video that we were supposed to shoot and we had to rewrite. Well, so Josh, our drummer, he went to film school over the pandemic and he learned to direct and stuff. And so he's directed our last two music videos. And I literally rung him on the way to the hospital because I was supposed to be shooting a music video in 4 days. And I was literally sitting there on the floor, like my face was bleeding so much. And I was like, the music video, that's the first thing I thought of because I was like, if my face is bleeding this much, I'm obviously not going to look great in a music video, right?
Yeah.
So I just rung him on the way to the hospital and I was like, man, I'm really sorry. Like, I've had an accident and like, yeah, we're going to have to sort out the music video. And he was like, why are you even ringing me? He was like, you're such an idiot. And I was like, no, but it matters. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it all matters like so much. And he rewrote like the narrative for the video, and yeah, he did such a good job with it. Like it's perfect. So just all these things, and I mean, yeah, when I get back to it, it's gonna be so good. I mean, so November is our first shows, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna have to work so hard to be able to get back to a point because currently like my wrist can't move. So and like playing guitar, they contort into all different shapes. So it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a real tough one. But if I manage to do it,
it'll all be worth it.
If I manage to achieve that, then yeah, I might just end up like crying after the first show because this has been one hell of a like 18 months. Like seriously, yeah.
What I do on the podcast is to try and make it original is ask the guest that's on to choose the outro piece of music. So I put you on the spot and it's going to be difficult because I find that anyone that writes songs or is from a band really struggles to whittle it down just to one. But what I want to do is put you on the spot today and ask you what song you will choose for today's episode. It can be a song from a band you absolutely adore, something that's got a lot of meaning, but you can only have one. Now, I know in a week you'll want to email me and say, actually, I've got 6 songs. Like, you want to change your mind when you're thinking at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're thinking, oh, God, I should have picked this. But what's the song that comes to your heart and soul when you think about this episode? It's all wrapped up, it's all edited, and then the outro music plays that sums up you perfectly, that is something that means more to you than any other song.
Ooh, okay, well, it's definitely got to be something off of Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
100%.
I'd have been shocked if it wasn't Alanis.
Yeah, no, it has to be. Ooh, okay,
wait.
wait.
Down from 12 to 1 or whatever. That's
let me just get the album up. Oh, this is so hard. I literally love this whole album. Do you know what? I feel like I love Not the Doctor on Jagged Little Pill, which is quite funny because of my current situation.
That seems perfect.
Literally, because I love that song. I just love I don't know how she does it. Like, just I don't know how she writes just these most perfect lyrics. Like,
I take it you're going to go to the 20th anniversary shows.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know what? Like, I really tried to go and see her acoustic Jagged Little Pill,
Yeah.
Shepherd's Bush Empire. I did not get a ticket. I was livid. And then I was like, oh my God, who can I ask? I asked everybody in the industry and I was like, who's putting on the show? And then one of my friends was putting on the show and I called him and I was like, come on, like, you've got to help me. And he was like, I promise you I would. He's like, I'm so sorry. He was like, I'm not even allowed to go. Because he said the only people that are allowed to go from the industry is only people on Alanis's list. He was like, no one from the promoters, anyone is allowed to go. He was like, she wants fans only. And I was like, but I'm a fan.
Oh.
I know, and he was like, I can't help you. I was like, this is the worst day ever.
But luckily, we've now had a whole tour announced where we can all go and
exactly have a good time. Yeah, 100%. I will be.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today. I'm really excited for people to hear Pura Vida.
Yes, awesome.
It's going to be incredible, and to know that you're playing at the end of the year is going to be great. And I hope we can probably catch up in person. I'll come to one of the shows. We'll have a beer and toast to all this crap we've been through for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
So there it is. There's my interview with me and the amazing Katy from the kick-ass band Tigress. Like I said at the start of today's interview, they're one of these bands that I've fallen deeply in love with. I can't wait to see them play some shows next year, and I really truly believe that their brand new album Pura Vida should be listened to right away. Go and buy it on vinyl or CD. That's the best way you can support these bands. But if not, go and stream it on all the sort of platforms you're used to, because this album is amazing. And then jump on markandme.com and let me know on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram what you think. One of the best things that I can ever do from this podcast is to read those comments from you guys that discover a new band thanks to this podcast, and I really can't wait to see people fall in love with Tigress just like I have. And I'm sure after today's interview, just like me, you'll then go and check out and listen to Alanis Morissette again, Jagged Little Pill, because it's what I've done since I've done this interview with Katy, and hey, that's an awesome album too. If you really want to support the podcast, you can go on markandme.com. On there, there's links to my official Patreon account. On there, you can sign up for as little as £1 each and every month, and for that, you're getting a guaranteed 2 episodes every single week, completely free. But as a way of saying thank you, thanks to the big, awesome sponsors of the podcast, Last Exit to Nowhere t-shirts and the amazing Vice Press News, I have some awesome prizes to give away. I have some of the best movie t-shirts and also some prints that you can't even buy, some variants or signed artist proofs, so a massive thanks to those guys for supporting me. You can do this for as little as £1 per month, and that's absolutely nothing when you think you're getting 8 episodes and an opportunity to win some awesome prizes that money can't buy. But if you don't want to support me, I completely understand. The podcast will be continually free, and you can support me by just sharing it across your social media networks. Hit that retweet button, share it on your Instagram or share it on Facebook. It gets my voice out there and hopefully a brand new audience, and brings me a whole new listener base to this podcast, and it's completely free. So please keep hitting that share button. You do not realise just how much of an effect it can have. I'll be back in only a few days' time. So until then, listen to Tigress, take it easy, look after yourself, and I'll speak to you all soon.
I don't wanna be the filler if the void is solely yours. I don't wanna be your glass of single malt whiskey hidden in the bottom drawer. And I don't wanna be a bandage if the wound is not mine. Lend me some fresh air. I don't wanna be adored for what I merely represent to you. I don't wanna be a babysitter, you're a very big boy now. I don't wanna be a mother, I didn't carry you in my womb for 9 months. Show me the back door. Visiting hours are 9 to 5, and if I show up at 6:10, well, I already know that you'll find some way to sneak me in and mind the empty bottle with the holes along the bottom. You say it's too much to ask for, and I upon. And I don't wanna be your other half. I believe that one and one make two. I don't wanna be your food or the light from the fridge on your face at midnight. Hey, what are you hungry for? I don't wanna be the glue that holds your pieces together. I don't wanna be your idol. See, this pedestal is high and I'm afraid of heights. I don't wanna be lived through a vicarious occasion, please. Open the window. Visiting hours are 9 to 5, and if I show up at 6:10, well, I already know that you'd find some way to sneak me in and know. Mind the empty bottle with the holes along the bottom. You see, it's too much to ask for, and I am not the doctor. I am not the. I don't wanna live on someday when my motto is last week, and I don't wanna be responsible for your fractured heart and its wounded beat, and I don't wanna be a substitute for the smoke you've been inhaling. Well, what do you thank me? What do you thank me for? Visiting hours are 9 to 5, and if I show up at 6:10, well, I already know that you'll find some way to